Hello horror fans, Movie Man here, and today we're diving into Na Hong Jin's The Wailing 2016. This South Korean thriller runs a colossal 156 minutes and somehow got a 99% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. In other words, critics found it atmospheric and cleverly constructed, not bad praise for a film about glowing-eyed dudes eating deer. Let's break down this story full of spooky folklore, possessed villagers, and one very confused cop, all with our usual dose of dark humor. Our story starts in Gokcheong, a tiny mountain village in South Korea. A mysterious Japanese man moves in, and soon after, a bizarre infection breaks out, causing villagers to become deranged and violently kill their families. Yeah, not the kind of neighbor you leave the spare key for. Local police sergeant Jong-gu, played by Kwak Do-won, is straight out of a buddy cop comedy, bewildered, overworked, and ready to cry about his hard life one minute and scream about demons the next. Even he has no idea what's going on. One moment he's chasing cows, the next he's confronting maniacs with rashes trying to dine on grandma. As the bodies pile up, Jong-gu's daughter Hyo-jin falls ill with the same rash and eerie behavior. A local woman in white named Mumyong, literally, no name, the movie doesn't bother giving her one, shows up and cryptically warns that the Japanese stranger is some kind of evil spirit. Of course, villagers start calling the stranger every ugly name under the sun, thinking he's to blame. In fact, Vox notes the town gossip instantly fingers the new guy as the culprit, even calling him the Jap. Yes, that awful slur shows up in reviews. Whether that's xenophobia or just good old-fashioned horror scapegoating, it sets the stage for confusion. Is this mysterious man a killer or just a gentle deer hunter with bad PR? Determined to get to the bottom of the curse, Jong-gu ropes in a Japanese-speaking church deacon and a couple of friends. They sneak into the stranger's cabin and find the ultimate creepy trophy wall, photos and personal items from all the murdered villagers. Yup, it even includes Hyo-jin's little shoe, oh boy. At this point, if this were Jong-gu loses it and tells the stranger to get out of town. There's even a zombie dog attack, but the stranger shows up just in time to hold Fido at bay. The guy's still weird, but how could a deer-eating neighbor do all this? A local shaman named Il-gwang performs a wild exorcism ritual on Hyo-jin. He warns no one must interrupt, because apparently in the Wailing demon rules number 1 and 2 are, trust no one, and, wait for the third rooster crow. Of course, Jong-gu can't stand to hear his daughter scream, so he cuts the ritual short. Surprise! Hyo-jin's pain stops, but the demon party isn't over, the evil doesn't die, it lodges instead. Seriously, it's like the quietest catch and release program ever. Jong-gu then leads a posse to find the stranger. A zombie victim springs out. This town's corpses got the zombie-like symptoms. Doctors in 28 days later would recognize rashes, hot rage, impulsive stabbing. They finally crash into the stranger's car, think they've killed him, and dump his body off a cliff. Yay! Crisis over, Hyo-jin even seems to be recovering. Cue beer and high fives, right? Not so fast. Just when you think it's safe to watch cute cat videos again, bang, more weirdness. Il-gwang, remember, the shaman, encounters Mumyong on the road and immediately spits blood. He calls Jong-gu, stop. Mumyong is the real demon, the Japanese stranger is actually a good shaman sent to kill her. Wait, what? Now the cop's head is spinning. Meanwhile, news comes in that Jong-gu's police partner, the deacon's uncle, has killed his own family. And then Hyo-jin vanishes from home. Jong-gu runs into Mumyong, who explains she's set a trap for the demon and begging him to stay put and trust her. But the shaman also calls, warning not to trust the lady in white. It's a classic horror rock-paper-scissors with demons. Confused, Jong-gu does that instinctive thing and sneaks back to his house, breaking Mumyong's protection spell by crossing the threshold. Drat. Come on, didn't we learn about threshold magic after Home Alone? Just then, the deacon, Yong I-sam, resurfaces with a dramatic reveal. He found the dead Japanese guy alive and in a cave. He begs the stranger to show his true form, and the demon laughs. Voila! In one shot he transforms into a fanged, red-eyed devil straight out of The Conjuring, complete with stigmata. So yeah, he was actually the demon the whole time. Meanwhile, Jong-gu comes home, and Hyo-jin walks in ready for dessert. She's feasting on the family with a knife. She's slaughtered her mother and grandmother and immediately stabs her dazed dad. Yikes. The screen fades out on Jong-goo's dying eyes, remembering happier bike rides with his daughter. It's a bleak ending. Hyo-jin was the movie's final kill count, and poor old Jong-goo bites it. So what the hell was that? Spoiler alert. The infection in this movie is explicitly demonic possession, not a zombie virus. Yes, despite all those rashes and endless suffering. As one analysis explains, the infection is more demonic possession than Walking Dead style zombie outbreak. In fact, the Japanese stranger is literally the demon, going from village to village picking a family member to curse. Every clue pointed to him. Blood on his legs, glowing eyes, the deer-eating scene, it was like a monster version of Bambi. Mu Myong, the woman in white, is almost certainly a benevolent spirit or guardian. Her name means no name, suggesting she's some kind of fate or not force, not a real person with last name FBI. She crashes onto the scene to try to save Hyo-jin and set a trap for the demon, but Jong-goo's paranoia makes him mistake her for the villain. As one critic points out, if only he'd trusted her, he might have survived. Instead he blindly trusts Il-gwang the shaman, who ironically might have been in league with the demon all along. Classic mistake. Hire the sketchy exorcist instead of the creepy stranger. This paranoia theme shows up a lot. The Vox review notes how the Wailing piles on tension, through the escalating paranoia that each of the townspeople comes to feel for any and all outsiders. Honestly, it's like a horror version of a small town hwa meeting. Everybody's suspicious of any stranger. And director Na Hong-jin is praised for blending tones. Jong-goo goes from a goofy, tired cop to full-blown horror movie panic in seconds. Side note, Kwak Do-won's performance is a masterclass in bewilderment. One moment he's bumbling like a dad at IKEA, the next he's shrieking at supernatural nightmares. Critics also emphasize the Christian versus shamanism clash. Il-gwang's rituals are basically psychedelic horror sequences, think The Exorcist meets a tribal dance party. The movie throws in symbols like a hanging goat and multiple crows crowing ominously, which even fans have associated with sacrificial imagery, lots of die goat die energy, and Christian symbolism, third rooster crow equals biblical Peter denial vibes. It's all so loud and unsettling, even Roger Ebert's Ghost might be like, alright, I've seen it all. The Exorcist, The Conjuring, a child possessed, frantic parents and rituals to drive out evil. Hyo-jin's arch-eyed chaos is very Regan in demon mode. 28 days later, Train to Busan. Zombie-ish outbreaks with fast, mad villagers, rash, rage, repeat. The Wailing's villagers mimic 28DL's rage and Korea's own Train to Busan zombie panic, just swap the bite for a demon's curse. Ringu Ju-on, the grudge Mu Myong in a white dress feels like a ghost out of J-horror, ethereal, silent, and misunderstood, kind of like Samara or Kayako if they went to Tae Gook. Psycho, usual suspects. Everyone's suspect, and the twist is that the guy you hated the whole time was right all along. Well, everyone except usual suspects had a twist. You get it. Director Na Hong-jin's style. This was Na's third film after The Chaser, 2008, and The Yellow Seat 2010, and critics say he remains the king of slow burn dread with shocking payoffs. If you like those, The Wailing is more of the same intensity dialed up to 11. In the end, The Wailing feels like a spiritual maze where every turn just sinks poor Jong-goo deeper in spiritual quicksand. The only thing scarier than demons is our hero's indecision. Wikipedia notes his largest failure is constantly switching trust, breaking Mu Myong's charm, and basically missing the obvious save. It's a cautionary tale of, don't trust Weird Hill villagers, or they'll kill you, I guess. As Variety aptly put it, there's nothing scarier than not knowing what you should be scared of. Well, after this movie, I know I'm scared of forest hiking or hiring a detective in Korea. So if you brave the Wailing, just remember, the real monster might be the friend or lady in white you didn't trust. Movie man out. And hey, if you survived the Wailing, hit that like button. I'm sure Mu Myong would approve.